knitters, welcome to episode 56 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. You might notice that I have zhuzhed up my podcast space a little bit here. Yesterday, I decided that if I'm gonna podcast every week, let's make it pretty, right? So I am on like a chair, not sitting on the floor. Feel like I've hit the big time now. Anyway, I am Devin Ventry. This is the Knitty McPurly podcast. You can find me online as Knitty McPurly on Instagram, at knittymcpurly.com, and you can email me at devin@knittymcpurly.com. So the last time we talked about my hair, you might notice it's a little different. So I have been on a quest to do my own hair. I know this is a knitting podcast. I'm just going to talk about this for a minute because I got so many comments and emails about it. So I'm going to put up a couple pictures because I have a few new people who just recently found me and may not know the backstory. So here's a picture of me like a year or two ago this is how I have kind of always looked. Blonde hair of some shade, either dark or light blonde, straight. Sometimes I had it to here, sometimes I had it a little bit longer, but pretty much forever, that's how my hair has always been. Now, that's not my natural color. I'm one of those people who was blonde as a kid. And so when I was in high school, I started highlighting it and I never looked back. So that's how that always was. Then I got cancer and I looked like this. During chemo, I completely lost all of my hair, completely bald. And I'll put up a couple pictures here while I'm talking about that show kind of the progression of the hair growing back. Now, when it grew in, it was kind of like a salt and pepper almost. It was very gray. Here's a picture of me and my husband. Yeah, I'm holding up a beef rib. That thing is gigantic. But you can see this is like right before I decided to color it. And my friend, assuming that I just wanted to cover the grays, gave me directions to use, I think I used a 6NN permanent color. Wella, Color Touch, something, or Soyplex, one of those ones from Sally's. So I did that, and that's the hair that you've been seeing me with, this dark hair right here. This is the dark hair that I've had since then. So I decided what I wanted was more of a light brown with blonde highlights. But like I said last time, my friend who has done my hair for the past 10 years or so went back to work and she just doesn't have time to do it anymore. And I refuse to pay $200 for hair, especially when it's this short, because I would need to get it done like every 6 weeks. Who can do that? I don't know. So I'm like, I can do this. I'm an artist. I dye yarn. Now, some of you pointed out to me, and rightly so, dyeing hair and dyeing yarn are not at all the same. And that's absolutely true. And for those of you who don't know, like I recently did not, the thing about hair is that it has undertones. And when you go from dark to light, you have to walk through the very dangerous orange pathway. Now, please do not think that I think that red hair is not pretty, or hair that is strawberry blonde, or whatever beautiful shade that may or may not be on your head right now. I imagine that is gorgeous. And when God does it, or when you're intending for that color, it just looks better, and that's what you want and you're expecting it. And I've seen it on other people and I think it looks beautiful. I remember when my husband and I got engaged, I said to him, I'm like, the only thing about this that makes me sad is I'm never gonna have any red-haired kids because I love red hair so much. But I don't think it looks good on me. Anyway, so here's a picture. I kind of walked down several roads of dyeing. Here's a picture where I tried to bleach my entire head because I'm thinking, let's see what happens. When you're bald, you lose all fear. Like you're like, that's fine. What's the worst that can happen? I gotta shave my head? I don't care. Like this is just a good place to be for fearlessness. So I bleached my whole head and it was neon orange. Like it was really, really unattractive. It was all the same orange color. So I find out, I'm talking to my friend, my hairdresser friend, and she said, okay, what did you use to bleach it? And so I told her, and she goes, oh, no, that's not the right thing. So I used one of the, I used one of the right components. One component was missing entirely, and one I used the wrong one. I used a 20 volume developer, and I should have used a higher number. I promise, I'm gonna start talking about knitting soon. You can skip ahead if you want to, if you're not interested in the hair, but because of the number of comments I got, I figured it'd be worth spending some time on. So I did it again, and I'm texting my friend as I'm doing. I go and I get the blue Kaleidacolor and the basic white and the 30 volume developer. My whole plan in podcasting up here was that I would not get interruptions. Would you like to say hello? There's Charlotte. Okay.
Oh, I can see the background. The background's pretty.
I know, it's pretty, right?
I want to touch the back.
Yeah, okay. Beat it, sister. Can you close the door?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I got the blue Kaleidacolor and the basic white and the 30 volume, and I mixed it up and I put it on my whole head. And it's terrifying to watch because you're afraid all of your hair is gonna fall out. So, and I don't recommend any of this, by the way. This is just an idiot feeling around in the dark who happened to end up with something she likes. So do not take my advice. That's what most people on YouTube should say, by the way, because some people give bad advice, but they think it's good advice. Anyway, stick to your lane, people. So I put it on, and I'm texting her, I'm sending her pictures. I'll put some of them up here because they are hilarious. I really have no shame. So here are the pictures I'm sending her. Like, okay, is it ready? She's like, no, not yet. A couple more minutes. And then 5 minutes later, let me see. So I'll text her picture. She's like, okay, all right, now wash it out. So I wash it out, and it's pretty bleached blonde at this point, probably because I used the right chemicals. I'll put up a couple of pictures. It still has kind of an orange tint, but the problem with it, as I knew going in, but I didn't quite know what it would look like. It just doesn't have any lowlights. So I lived with this. I walked around like this for about a week, actually less than a week, because I podcasted last Friday. So it was maybe 4 days, felt like a week. Just thinking, what am I gonna do here? So then I thought, what if I used a 7NN, and I confirmed all this with my friend. I did a 7NN on the bottom. I'll show you the back. I can swivel here. I can clear my knees. Here's the back. 7NN across the bottom. And then I used foils, and that was hard, but I did it. I used foils, and I foiled the top, and it came out great. Like, it still has a few places where it's a little too light, but whatever, I can do more later if I want to. That's the benefit of the good part about doing your own hair is you can do that kind of trial and error as long as you know certain things, like bleach it once and it's blonde, bleach it twice and it's gone. Like, that's helpful information. You can't do too much to your hair or it's gonna fall out. As long as you know that stuff, you can kind of, do some trial and error. So anyway, that is a long story to get to the color that I am almost entirely happy with. It just needed these low lights in there. So I actually kind of love it right now. And can we just talk about my background? Oh my gosh, I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday. I swear I'm gonna talk about knitting, I promise. I went to Hobby Lobby, which is a little pricey if you're getting stuff that's not on sale. Almost everything here was half off. So I was able to get this stuff for a really good price, but just buying stuff that was pretty, oh my gosh, it was so fun. And I'd have it in my cart and I'm putting it together. And I didn't really think about, how this was gonna work, but it's so great. I love it. And I put these little hooks over here for my necklaces and the yarn I wanna talk about. It's good stuff. I hope you like it. Let me know, leave me a comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, all that YouTube-y stuff. I got a lot of new people, you guys. It's been so nice. Thanks, Naughty Knitwits. Thanks, Michelle and Leslie. Yeah, it's so great. I've gotten more first-time commenters and first-time orders from my shop in the past, I don't know, week or two than I have since I opened a couple years ago. So, that's wonderful. I love you guys. I hope you love the things that you ordered from me. Leave me a comment. I would love to hear about it. Okay. Oh, here's the funny thing. So, like I said, I have new hair, still with the hair, still on the hair. I have new hair all the time. Like I'm constantly got a new style, although it's growing really slow. Like this is the grow in from March and I got it cut a couple times on the bottom, but not the top. So I thought, let's try, what if I push my bangs like in my face? What would that look like? So I took this picture and that immediately reminded me of this picture. Remember from Mr. Rogers, Lady Elaine Fairchild? Oh gosh, it's hilarious, hilarious. So just one small shameless plug, my daughter Gigi just started an Instagram account for our dog who is blind, and it is Rocky the Blind Boston with underscores in between the words. So if you're interested in cute pictures of a cute blind dog taken by a 12-year-old, then go follow her on Instagram. A lot of you already have, and it just filled her with joy. She was like, Mom, I got like 20 likes. And she doesn't care about stuff like that. Like, you know, it's not like a self-esteem thing for her. It's just exciting and it's just, you know, something fun. And they're not pictures of her, it's just pictures of the dog. So anyway. Okay, progress and shop news. So I'm currently getting ready for Black Friday and the holiday market on December 11th, Manassas, Virginia. Those are the two big things that I have coming up. Now, if you want the Black Friday coupon code, I think I'm only going to send it to my newsletter subscribers because you guys are the ones who really are interested. People who are willing to get an email from me once a week or so are the ones that I want to give that great coupon to. So I'm going to send a good coupon code to my newsletter subscribers. So if you are not subscribed, go to my website, knittymcpurly.com, wait for a second, and the thing will pop up, put in your email, and you are subscribed. I will have sock kits, such as the Modern Rainbow Socks #1, and, God willing, the Modern Rainbow Socks #2. I should have lots of yarn for the Everywhere hat. If all the stars align, I will have pom-poms and McPurly pouches. I have been working on those things. Like I stopped all my design work. All design work I set aside to get ready for these two events. This is where I am on the McPurly pouches. So here's a little behind the scenes view. The pouch gets a quilted backing and it gets quilted. And then I stitch on the label with embroidery floss. So a finished one looks like this. And this is just where I am with these right now. I really had fun cutting out this fabric, like see how the mermaid? And then because this side goes this way, I've got her like that. So how the pouch goes is you do it like this, and this is where the zipper ends up, right here. The zipper ends up there. And then it goes like that and it becomes a pyramid. So it's really cute how you can see the mermaids and whatnot. That's been really fun. So I've been working on those. I also have wanted to have some ready to wear Everywhere hats. This has a little Knitty McPurly tag on it for the holiday market, because not everybody there is going to be a knitter, but everybody's there looking for Christmas presents. And I also made some in the baby size. So these are the two that I have so far. I'm working on another one in the Fontaine colorway, but these will be at my booth. I'm not going to put these up on the website because most of the people who shop my website are knitters. So anyway, let's see. Okay, I wanted to highlight, last week we talked about Odette. This week I wanted to talk about Josephine. So I have showed this before. It has a really awesome, sturdy chain with a lobster claw clasp that you really don't need because it's long enough to just go right over your head. But this is a vintage replica of a French Victorian locket necklace. And it has a really pretty bail on it. And this, like the Odette, will hold a lot of stitch markers. In the listing for this necklace, it talks about, sorry, it's my fake nails that makes it hard to open. It's not hard to open, it's just everything's a little harder when your nails are fake. Anyway, this has silver and gold hexagon stitch markers in there. So this is a vintage piece, and what they used to do, you can see it's got like little holes in the front. What they used to do, because the streets smelled bad in Victorian France, they would carry like perfumed cloths around in there so they could, you know, breathe it in while they were on the streets. So you can carry stitch markers in yours or something else if you so desire. I'm working on yarn. I have a lot of yarn that's in the process, mostly kits. I do have a couple skeins of Mermaid that are available in the Amsterdam Aran, which is the proper yarn for the Everywhere hat. But really, I mean, you can get creative with this. This hat is generous. I have knit it with worsted weight held double with mohair. I've knit it with Aran weight held double with mohair. I've knit it with DK held triple with a fingering weight and a mohair. And yeah, I have that one right here. Hold on. This is the original. This is the original one that is held triple. And it's just so pretty. Like you just get so much dimension in there. So this is a DK weight held triple with a fingering weight and a mohair. So anyway, for that hat, there's really a lot of variety. I love that hat because it's super simple to make. It's everywhere. I mean, I was in Hobby Lobby yesterday and they are selling that hat for a good bit. They were selling, you know, acrylic hats with a pom-pom, a fur pom-pom, looking like this for like 18 bucks. I was like, not even handmade. That's not bad. So anyway, I don't have a lot to show right now for what's in the shop. Some necklaces are out of stock. If there's one that you were hoping to pick up for Christmas, send me an email if it's out and let me know, and I can probably get some more before Christmas. So that's where we are with that. Okay, on to your favorite segment and mine, knitting fantasies. So this week I chose someone who I've been following on Instagram for several years. She has both knitting patterns for hats and finished hats on Etsy. And her name is Rosehip Lane Knits. And she's that on Etsy and Instagram, Rosehip Lane Knits. So the hat, I picked two hat patterns, both of which, see, she likes bulky hats like I do. I'm not interested in a fingering weight hat or a sport weight hat or even a worsted is like as low as I will go for a hat. But she has like some good chunky, bulky weight hats. The one thing is that they are only in one size. So there's that. The first one I picked is the chevron print beanie. It is in super chunky yarn and it's in one size. It's super pretty. Like it just looks fun to knit. I think I would love doing that. It just looks really fun. That's the first pick. The second pick is the Malabrigo Rasta beanie. Malabrigo Rasta is a bulky weight yarn that is just delightful. Like everything Malabrigo makes, it's just delightful. Also one size, but super cute. I would totally, I mean, the thing about hats, like the Everywhere hat comes in 3 sizes. It comes in baby, toddler, child, and adult. But really, only 2 sizes are really needed. Like a baby has a tiny little head, babies, toddlers. But children as young as 6 can wear an adult-sized hat, unless they have a little tiny pinhead. So, you know, it depends. I would err on the side of making those 2 sizes. You know, I think if I were making a hat for most children, I would make it in an adult size, unless they were really little, because they're just going to grow out of it too quick. And a hat that's a little too big is fine. You know, you can just pull it down over your ears and get some good ear coverage there. Okay, my third pick from Rosehip Lane Knits is a faux fur cowl. I love faux fur. I imagine this is knit with like a fun fur or like an eyelash yarn that you get at like a craft store. It doesn't say in the listing. So and it's a super cheap pattern, it's like $2, but it looks really fun. I'm not opposed to knitting with fun fur, definitely not. I would absolutely do it. And I have one time, I made my husband a Sasquatch out of it was one of Rebecca Danger's books where you could make all these little tiny animals or little tiny people or whatever. It has 50 in the title. I can't remember what it was, but her books are delightful, as is she. She's a lovely person. But I did use eyelash yarn one time to make that Sasquatch for my husband. And it was fun. It makes me want to knit with it again. It was really fun. I would totally make this. Okay, moving right along. This week's topic is cast-ons. Now, I did a little research going into this podcast about different cast-ons. I kind of thought about what my go-to cast-ons were, and I wanted to know what other people liked for a go-to cast-on. And I found that that's just a huge amount of things. I found this one this morning. It was called the Chinese Waitress Cast-On. And this lady was like, it is my very favorite. And I was like, okay. All right. It involved a crochet hook. I watched her do it. It was really cool. But I didn't get a good read on it. Like, well, what is it? What do I use it for? Is it stretchy? Is it firm? I think what she said, the reason she liked it is it makes a really nice edge, which is nice. But stretchy or firm, I feel, is a really important distinction also. I have 4 cast-ons that I use only. Like, if I see another one, I will tend to sub in one of these 4 because I'm lazy. I mean, if I'm really interested, maybe I'll look it up and try it out. But for the most part, I am going to use one of these 4. First one, very obviously, the longtail cast-on. It's a very obvious cast-on. It's super easy to do. I'm not going to demonstrate these things because you're on YouTube and you can find those things demonstrated very easily here. The longtail cast-on is the one people I think usually learn first. Very easy, not the stretchiest. So for a hat or socks, I tend to use my second go-to cast-on, which is the German twisted cast-on. Anytime I want something to have stretch, I go German twisted. Very easy. Look up Very Pink Knits, has a lot of great how-to videos. You can Google her tutorial for the German twisted cast-on is really good. It's just a little bit more, it just takes a slightly more time than the long tail cast-on, but it's the same basic principle where you use that long tail to create your stitches on your needle. Those 2 are the ones that I use the most. Third cast-on that I used often is the backwards loop cast-on. That one I use in the underarm of a sweater, or if I'm doing buttonholes and I need to, bind off on one row and cast on another row. If I am, or doing inset pockets, if I have to create a hole in the sweater for a pocket to go behind, I will use the backwards loop cast-on because it's very easy. And that's just great. Like, I love the backwards loop. You can use it as an increase. It's just, if here's your needle, you just twist the yarn and it's so quick and easy. That is great for that. Now, the 4th cast-on that I use is a provisional cast-on. This is a very specific type of cast-on that you only need under certain circumstances. And what you do is you make a chain of crochet, and then you essentially pick up and knit in the chain of crochet. And you do it in such a way that you can just pop that crochet out and you'll have live stitches. So if your goal is not an edge, but to have live stitches, then you would use a provisional cast-on. I used a provisional cast-on. I've used them a couple times. Again, not one I use very often, but I'm not afraid of it. You know how some things are like provisional cast on, what is that? I think one of the very first sweaters that I knit, which was Hohi Locatelli's Opposite Pole, uses a provisional cast on. And I was so determined to make that sweater that I learned it doing that sweater. And I've just said, okay, now I know how to do that. Not scary anymore. Okay, so there's my 2 cents on that. I'd love to hear what cast-ons you like. What's your favorite one, especially if it's something different? Are you a Chinese waitress girl? I mean, what's your favorite? What's your go-to? That would be great, because I have a feeling the answers will be as varied as there are knitters. Everybody's got their own favorite. Okay, for the word of the week, I actually made a mistake and I forgot to look up what this lovely lady, I'm gonna type it out for you, and I will put it in right here. Someone corrected me on my I-cord lesson from last week, and that was super helpful to me because I did not know this. It was really helpful. So I'll put that up here now and you can read it. Okay, so now on to, so the word of the week is still continuing on I-cord. Last time we talked about I-cords, still continuing on that. I just wanted to give you that more information that I could have read to you if I had printed it out, but I didn't. So you got to read it yourself. Off the subject, back to shop news. Have you ever made something like chili with a really good piece of meat like filet, or made a whiskey and Coke with like a single malt scotch? Okay, these are no-nos. We don't do that, right? Because the filet is too good a cut of meat and single malt scotch is too good to mix. Well, I have this piece of fabric that is a Nanny Eero double gauze that is the filet of fabric and the single malt scotch of fabric. I ordered this, I can't remember, before cancer, last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before. And when I got it, these white things are like paint, it feels like painted on. I had planned to make like a skirt or something out of it, but because of the texture of it, I thought, I'm not gonna wear this. I'll make something and I'll never wear it. And so I thought, I'm gonna use my filet fabric as a liner for my pouches. Just not all of them. Some of them don't go with yellow, but this one I think does. Isn't that gonna be great? So these pouches are gonna have filet insides. Oh, so nice. Okay, so here's what happened. This week, our story comes from Leslie of the Knitter's Nook on Instagram. She basically wrote it out for me to read to you, so I'm gonna do that right now. She tells me that since she was 9 years old, she has had epilepsy. She says, after I got married and started having children, it got worse and worse. It held me back from doing a lot of things like driving. So on good days, I had to arrange a ride to play dates, Bible studies, the grocery store, Walmart, clothes shopping, etc. I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh. I spend so much of my life in the car. I just having to have someone drive you every time. That must have been really hard, Leslie. She says, there were lots of bad days I needed help at home or had to stay in bed. No cooking, laundry. I needed help with my children, or I had to miss out on things because of the seizures. 2 ladies from church actually started coming to help out a little, and I would see them crochet. I said, what is that? And they showed me what it was and how to do it. That piqued my interest. So I went and bought needles and yarn from Walmart. I actually had no idea that there was a difference between knitting and crocheting. I thought to myself, I don't want to be like an old lady, so I'll try knitting because the old ladies were crocheting. So one thing led to another. I looked at videos on YouTube, checked out books from the library, etc. It occupied my time, gave me good self-esteem and a sense of accomplishment, and I was able to do something good for other people. Be creative and play around with patterns and colors. People would come up to me all the time and give me compliments. It gave me something to feel proud of while having so much trouble with seizures. I did it while staying home, in the hospital, and during recovery after 4 brain surgeries. Now I am seizure-free. I learned how to knit and crochet because of seizures, and I sent my doctor a hat. It has blessed me in ways I can't even believe or describe. Both you, me, and Amy of Noble Character Crafts were a big inspiration to me. Thank you so much, Leslie. That's so sweet. Now I drive, work, and I still love to knit, but I'm trying to find a good balance. God works miracles every day, Devin, just like he did for you. Lots of days were ugly, bad, and painful, but I always had my Bible and my knitting. That was my escape. Now I have been knitting and crocheting for the last 9 years, made 11 sweaters, tons of blankets, shawls, scarves, gloves. You name it, I've done it. Lace, color work, cables, mosaic, etc. Now, since my life has gotten busier, I am slowing down and doing more mindless projects with just a little interest. She says, I've only been driving for 6 months and her husband had to teach her, and she's 36. So she said, it's funny listening to me teaching my daughter. Thank you so much, Leslie. That is such a great story. I feel like knitting is like that. It's something to do with your hands when your mind is doing something else. I don't know about you, but I need something to do with my hands all the time. I mean, I'm just sitting in this chair, it's hard for me to be still. So, yeah, thank you, Leslie. That's a lovely story. If you have a story that you want to share on the podcast, I would love it if you could take a 5 or 10 minute video of yourself or audio, or you can just send it to me and I'll read it for you. If you want to share one, send it to me. I would love to share it on the podcast. Anything funny or heartwarming or interesting or something you learned or some terrible mistake that you made that led to a hilarious outcome, whatever. I would love to put it on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please like, please subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. I will be back here next Friday, which is Black Friday. So I hopefully will have stuff to show then too. I want to say that my shop update will happen next Friday, but I am one of those people who jumps the gun all the time. That's just what I do. I jump the gun. So it'll probably be Thursday night that I get everything on the website and get the newsletter sent out. I know that's wrong. I know it's Thanksgiving, but I'm not gonna be able to sit still. Like, I'm just gonna be too excited. You don't have to shop till Friday. But yeah, there will be a good coupon code and there hopefully will be a lot of fun stuff. What I may do is list these by category. Like I might, if I can get these done and get these up on the website, they might be listed as, mermaid pouch, but the stitching and the zipper colors do vary. So if you have something particular that you especially like or especially don't like, feel free to mention that in your in the notes. I always read the notes. I love when people write me notes. So anyway, I don't want to turn off the camera because this is just so gorgeous. Like I am looking at it and it's just so pretty. I love it so much. All right, I shan't keep you. See you next Friday, knitters. Happy Thanksgiving, Americans. Bye.